It's amazing because everybody could be having a proper cup of tea somewhere or going to be of a joy where you sit and you could discuss things that relate to what this is. Shouldn't it be actually something which people really learn more about? Because you and I, we should have this administrative council, which is security between the creditor and debtor, and it's above the courts, and it's what's needed, in fact, actually, because you've really got a lot of words being used otherwise, which is a cause of action. It really isn't describing the nature of things, which is you, the beloved, where you are, you see, and your natural right. So, like, if we just think of an example of in the media right now where you've got war going on and you've got people being displaced, and how does that happen? How did my child, for instance, or anyone's child, just be removed without any claim? See, yes, and the irreparable harm which goes on where such is. So words where people are using them, they should know what the definition is behind such. So, for instance, a jubulation and jubism or Juddism or Judaism is all the same. It relates to your private right. And if you go back into the past, you're going to see this. And so it's sort of you're saying that you're a private individual good. Well, that's right. We should. And it's the private component of everything we should get underway more. But then you've got things which is you become a corpse and only under a corpse, and it came about more as a result of this. So Judaism, like, for instance, how that's used, can not necessarily be Semitic of itself, because you've got people who go along where this faith is, and all over the world. And so this is a religion of itself, you could say. Judaism is perhaps, and could somebody say that some origin more or less is perhaps, but then, you know, what's the word used more for that? Is if it's Semitic, it's the people because it's something that relates to your blood or something else, but it should be from the soil where somebody is and from the blood, you see. And how do you use words and act from such, meaning living in warmth and heaven between two children playing, really. So one needs to learn how to communicate and speak about the issues which is going on. And so where someone isn't able to do that, you can see degrees of what that is, where someone is vying for some position in the corpse itself. But shouldn't there be an administrative council which looks at the issues which is going on right now, and how could it be that a crown foreign corporation is trying the president, for instance, and is that the right suit? Are we in our right clothing? You see, these are questions. Shouldn't you be in your own suit? Shouldn't you be in your own clothing? And isn't the highest court that should be versus some lower court where something is, you see? Because something is verified versus this is not verified. There's no procedure to guard against retaliation and all sorts of things. So lots of acts which would go on. Could you say it seems treasonous to you? Of course it does. It is. And is it not treasonous that it's by a felony or misprision that you stand by and you don't do anything, that you could look and see crime has been done to yourself? It should be that you're an IRS informant where conditions go on where a corporation is which didn't pay tax, which can be arrested, meaning stopped, because it's treason for that to continue on, where it's got lots of payments due because it's only been listed as something abandoned under a corpse position, which you, the fiduciary, can have a right to correct, you see, and should. But when it's not, well, maybe procedures should be set up so, you know, issues that are securities aren't just put under a dead man statute, which they shouldn't be, you see. So anyway, that's another story, isn't it? Where you are or I, we could need an affidavit of treason, and you could be putting this forward to say, look, I'm reminding you that this issue is existing, and so that it's done as a reminder. Well, good, because you're upholding justice, and you don't want to be put under a dead man statute, and it's time which should be broken of some such cycle of abuse where anything is, because some administrative council is yet to be formed like it should properly, and what's unconstitutional, which is going on, or uncontractedness, and things as such, which is unacceptable, of course, for everyone. Well, how can that be corrected? It should be by an administrative council, like we're talking about. It's really heaped away and put just sort of under usury, which, yes, of course, something goes on where a demonocracy is, or democracy, where somebody's only a corporate citizen of an abridged right, but yet everybody there could have their status corrected, but they could come from what this is, because you've got this right to pre-authorised, pre-orderedness of things, and you to give notice of what this is. And are you not helping where the government is? Of course you are, because all these and everybody need to be protected. It's wrong. Somebody goes, no, somebody over there, this is wrong. And some wrongdoing can be. You need to correct what this is, but why should you not ensure people where they are? And the credit that's due is really a future which is incredibly unlimited, and it's a matter that's organised, and all of us could be more internally regulated versus no internal regulation. And so it just means that somebody would be controlled from the outside. How does that feel? But you've really got ledgers and things that could have been merged where something isn't. Did anybody give permission for that? You've got private property that was just taken and given and stolen and passed on to others, and even an enemy corporation, a parent, which, how does that work? And is that right? Everything is sort of under some false paradigm where people are, where the richest have just got richer because they got government contract, and everybody else, which was just got pushed to the side, where you've got a black swan having gone on. Isn't that something which all can else be corrected by administrative council? They can assist the governor, they can assist people in the government, help do their job. Do you don't think that actually that they need to be assisted? Hell yes, they really do. And that's very important. You're really showing your authority by you're assisting to help where need is, and you've got morality where issues are. Beloved, really, you could see that have lost a lot. And war, like you could say it, yes, of course, you've got something very contradictory in the community. It's not anything anybody wants, absolutely not. How is that going on? You see, you've got in the United States or America, you've got a lot more population, and you've got a lot more loss going on, where you've got look and see in the Five Eyes nations that was slated, and isn't it in fact what's gone on in the past? There's sort of all sorts of scamdemics which has occurred. How could somebody say that's not so? But like all across the board, everyone really is under a natural condition, should be, and yet you are, and yet how come you cannot correct what this is? Well, this is the red slippers to be able to explain how you can, of course, because all these things where otherwise have very long-term effect on you or I, and what is defined where something is, for instance, like where Gaza is, of course, you've got we the people, and you've got a ministry council and things, and you've got a common condition of sovereignty where such is, but could you say that that's going on where war is set up? And is this called Judaism? I don't know that anybody would say that it is. It's not. And most people, where Judaism is, they would say it really is unfairly decast to be related to what Zionism is, which is really new. Zionism itself is a word and it's a concept and things is really only maybe 150 years old or something. It's really, gets transformed more toward a piece of land. And so that's what that is about. and that some political movement was where some identity was, and that political body came to do what they could to have some condition over a land. Well, couldn't you say that all where we are have some certain stance which needs to be corrected, of course, because none of these documents for South Africa are supposed to be protected of some positive intent, and so you have to be focused on what that is. But you'd say that a lot of these documents could certainly be corrected to have more real, true names, and not in a fictional concept, but more be under positive induction, which is what happens. That then investment comes and grows, and people in the nations become compensated. Well, that's very important, shouldn't it be? Yes. And it's how you and I, we actually account for what sufferedness really has been caused by any despite that has gone on. Like, couldn't it be the same as what happened where you are, a pocket judgment, and it knocked you out, and there was no equity given to you because of something went on? And how could that be corrected? Of course it should be, and you're educating everybody more to agree, and otherwise you've got a real little bit of a battle on the horizon, haven't you? Yes? And so, can this all be corrected? Of course it can. And couldn't you be put on a do not detain list? And shouldn't we, the people, be under such where something is? Of course, you've got a proper ID. You could know how to learn how to get that more 5-star on your passport more, and think that you've got a proper security instead of being insecure. And if it's offered where something is that's such like this, it's really like somebody would say, well, it means that you're not a citizen, you're a national, though. Yes, that's right, kind of thing, yes. You're a citizen of the state. It's just that you're not a corpse, where you said that. Where you see everybody else is just a US citizen. You are a national, only you to maybe correct your status is you're looking into what the matter of this is, and why not be of a secured status where you are. And anyway, it's the only status that you could have as a grand jury. Remember, it's like a Supreme Court can't be a corpse and be in the tribunal. No, because a corpse can't exist in that tribunal, because it's this which is above the corpse, you see? So it can't be mixed up. And what's going on below is a massive mix-up. That's not quite right, actually, because you've got a maximum of eclectics. You can only join like with like. The living is supposed to be joined with living, and you can only join the dead with the dead, but don't mix those two up, you see. And this is really what fascism is otherwise, you see, which we could see the condition of, but you've got a private condition going on behind the scene, which is private, and you've got something in the public, and often these things are not proper matched up where you or I are, because did you or I, were we the ones who actually helped set that public policy up? Well, it should be. Yes, you should be. It can be. And so, what's the enemy really? Is that you or I? I'd say so. Yes. Why? Well, because opportunity exists for you to do such and help where things are. You don't think that people in government need help? Christ. It's really you and I. Please. That's important. So a national is you caring about the state of the people where you are, and you're pledging allegiance to people where you are as one of the people and as a beneficiary of the republic, which really is under international trade more and commerce. And isn't this how you set yourself up as a GJ? Yes, you do. That's an Article 3 or Article 4. And that's very important. Why? And it's selected by the people. You can't have somebody that got there by favour or something. No. But you shouldn't have anybody by favour anywhere. There's supposed to be documents which help protect against that statute, which often doesn't exist today, which really is truly disastrous itself. So you get your red slipper right, don't you, that you could stop anything with an affidavit of treason. Yes, you can. That you have diplomatic immunity, could it not be said? Yes, it is, because you're supposed to have that, and that you have every right which is given to you to protect yourself under the government. And that, were you given such? What you're asking for such, and if somebody didn't give it to you, well, you were asking for such, and which is because such wasn't given. It's the cause of a ruinedness of your life, and even to be genocided because it's an act on many, the same people, as an act of treason, which is done to me. And because isn't it so that the location of the debtor is the US as a corpse, which is the debtor? And that's under law. So that law really is UCC 9-307. If you look at section H there. So you can put that in brackets, just that little bit, because you don't need to put anybody's written law there. You've just said it is under the law. Now you've cited sort of where anybody could find such. And, you really, being able to have put things which you've just done under international law more, which is the nation, which is no longer under the Crown, for instance, since 1999, because 210 years passed by under international law, and you can't have a nation in bondage such past that. And so it's your conduct by what you're doing is to be observing to see that the Crown can prosecute whatever the head person is apparent. And if that's so and you stand by to be such, you allow such, if that's your conduct, it's okay. Well, you're just given permission by your conduct to say that the Crown is where something should be, wise would be, or something which isn't you, we, the people whatsoever. And that who's giving the ideas, you see? It's aestheticis, that meaning something in the past, solid about the past, and how something would be resolved, which would be the distinction where some citizenship is it a state citizen or is it a corporate citizen? If it's a state citizen, it's more we the people, which is the right. If it's a state citizen, so of all the states. And so, since 1791, you've got this transformation of a republic having moved more into a democracy ever since, and treasonous acts which went on to have caused that to be. If you look into history, nobody could say that's not so. My God, it is. It's abrogated where every custom would ordinarily be to have moved people more toward being a citizen of only a political party and only having membership into a big MIC, a military-industrial complex, which was under negative inductive economic inductance. And so you and I, we have a citizenship, and shouldn't it be that you learn what it is? Because you've got a right which is tax deductible, which you could give your tax deductibleness to assist to help where something was in some issue, and you could say, I'm accepting this for value, and that's what that means. And you could state that you'd be paying the tax on whatever that was in some document, and it's only you who is the donor that can do that. You have a right to a point who can help where such is, and you appointing them to be your trustee because you're the owner of perfected certificate of title, and that you're not inside any fiction you didn't agree to, and that you've got natural right, which you don't care for any pocket judgment, just to be under commerce that you didn't consent to, and so you're a state citizen or not a corporate citizen. It's what you elected. You can do an SS fine to help correct this. Pretty much how your social gets corrected to have your proper status, but it's a felony for anybody to have demanded the social. And under 42 USC section 408, under section A there, it's really a violation of the law, which I just said you could put in brackets, just the law itself there, but the words, it's the violation of the law, which I was not to be profited from. It's really in care where you are, where some permanent postal is. which is by more your raw free delivery, you could have a permanent postal, and so you're not in any zip, and so either you're using zeros or nines, what can be accepted where something is, but you're not you're in the republic, you're not in a federal jurisdiction, and so it's like by your postal, which you'll learn more about how to put properly, and it's you that are putting things without prejudice. So if you put that just like put without prejudice, then you always put that above your autograph. It's really you're giving full faith and credit. That's what you just said there, and that you're not the legal fiction under where the contract is, and that you have not granted any right to be given away, and you've got something where a stamp that you've put without prejudice in red ink, and that the faster that you do things, the better something is existed to get processed and put, and that the delay is more or beingness of things, which is just delay of whatever. But this is what your right is. It's like always under a face validity, and it's a sign that you're in front of what's being of acceptance, and acceptance is as an agent, and it's the number one thing for you or I, who is a state citizen, and you've got your Social Security voluntarily working for you under under law, which is UCC 1-308. Put that in brackets again. It's for the performance and acceptance under reservation of your right. And so now, other forms that we talked a bit about in the Sweat Slipper event is you being able to list yourself to be the non-taxpayer, which is your W8BN. And so your passport can be without prejudice, and it can be a tax withholding where something is that you can have protection from, and to live where the republic is, more or less, that you could state such in the nation where you are. And it's not under threat where anything is of public safety, yet such you could see hasn't been sort of arrested, which it should be, where wisely paperwork and process should be of Article 3 or Article 4 court. So due diligence can be borne by officials, and so where letters can be used in the passport that's followed by a 9-digit number, that's on the passport, you could be received a 50% or something off more registration and this sort of thing. It shows you what the power of what this is, you see. So the difference between citizenship is some degree of where crimes of treason is going on, but yet what you could do really is learn how to, which our last Red Slipper show can do more about. It's really getting like 5 stars more, on your passport and on your ID document and things, and organising that so that you've got that filed more at the county clerk. And so we're talking about the county clerk because that's a place where you can file things, which now you've got a filing of what this is, you see. But you've got a private right to be noticed and to be given notice, and you're the principal of the matter where anything is, and so all successes or anything which aligns, all should really be given, of course, to the IRS headquarters, which is of the international headquarters, which we gave the number for in this Red Slipper show. Otherwise, it's a consideration of an agency in Washington, more, you see, DC, and it's not. Yeah, that's a matter of this. Well, did you state that? Yes. Well, you should, because you're going to be helping things which you did, and then yes, an affidavit of treason. It could be from, and it's in care of, and your lowercase being, it's like mine would be Judge David care of, and a postal service or something, and a zip exempt, and you're either putting zeros or nines, or you're all of it for the 5 there digits supposed to be, and you could put near, and you can put these numbers more in brackets or something, so it just doesn't appear. So it's to be, and then two, and then it could be the U.S. Department of the Treasury, which is attention to all which is of your concern, and then put the address of the Treasury there, but it's all the IRS headquarters as well. It's attention to whom it may concern, and it's your attachment of your BC number, you see, that you can have gone and got, or if you didn't, that you can get it authenticated. You're the owner of it, but otherwise you're letting them know that you're not corporate in your own being where you are to help yourself get pulled out of some jurisdiction which you've only been looked upon as an employer, employee sort of thing. And then straight away there you're saying, no, I'm a natural born state citizen more, by doing such as an inhabitant more, and you're the owner more of a perfected certificate of title, which you could state that I'm reserving all my rights, you see, and that I don't care for anything to be stood by that, as I'm educating you, could be related to RICO or stalking, which is mostly maybe stalking. That's RICO too, but the name is as a citizen, which really is for you, not as a corpse or livestock, you see, and that whoever's existed about that should be deceased, should be deceased. And now you get this statement that's recorded at the county clerk, and now you can put this forward to people to be given notice. But why not look into your SS5? That's what we talked a bit about. You could do within this red slipper section, which is helping correct your status, which is social. How good is that? How about looking at what would exist if you did or how about looking at what would exist if you have a certificate of non-citizenship, meaning you're not a corpse? Go ahead and have a look at 8 USC 1452 as a form. How good is that? Okay, it's going to give you the information what's needed. One more form that you could have then is putting in the trust and connecting it to your state where the taxation is using 8855, that form, IRS form. And so now, wherever you are, if you wanted to add this statement where your trust is, you're really helping the whole matter quite a bit. And if it would be just a little further, we could just, in a moment, I'll call you back, we'll do a shorter show, which is just really wrapping it up. But it basically really is, why should you not really have the most security where you are, where your ID is? Yes. And beyond that, why should you not be able to know how you could set anything off, in fact, and how to purchase the things that you need or whatever? And that's something you could go on to learn more about itself, yes? But you should use this series, which we have, Honest, to know what you could do to be able to clear some things up for yourself well and truly, and by just using one page, as we've looked at, and be very simple with what you do, it's better if you do it such, yes? The more words you use, the worse it is, yeah?
Makes sense.
And one can learn how to file an Article 3 or Article 4, very simple things we can go over in another series more as we talk a bit more. But I think we'll wrap this up in a moment. I'll call you back in 5 minutes or something, but we can talk and wrap this series up a little bit, I think, Lukey. And it's really the last little bit of your Red Slipper series, which you asked about, and to get us to the final thing, which is, let's be not on any detain list. I mean, do not detain. Be on a do not detain list, yes?
Oh, wow.
Okay. So let's just talk about
amazing.
that when we come back. Okay, mate?
Okay, mate.
All right. Okay, we'll
Talk to you
finish
then.
up our red slipper then. Okay, record.